Hey Pepper Gang, one of my favorite features of the front is the flexibility you have in base building. You're able to make so many types of base designs, wire the base with electricity like Rust, create a functional farm, set up traps for the Horde minigame, and a lot more. I'm going to be breaking down everything you need to know about base building, including how to wire the basic circuit and the basic farm, using my current base as an example. If you're new to the game, hope by the end of this video you learn something useful for your first couple of bases, and I'll have chapters down below for easy access. If you have any more questions, drop them in the comments below or swing by my live stream on Twitch. Starting with base location, this is the most important factor to consider for long-term success on a server, especially if you're solo. If you're solo, you want a small footprint and want to be tucked away from other people on PvP servers. Snow biome has a lot of valuable resources and point of interest for shards and talent books. I recommend hiding a base in the snow because it's a far walk from the normal spawns, typically less foot traffic than the jungle and desert biomes. If you're a squad though, you can get away with building in most biomes because you will have the manpower to defend your base from enemies. I see a lot of teams build up in the desert due to easy access to iron, copper, and most importantly, salt for gunpowder. Take all of this into account. Ideally, you want some flat ground and a lot of space, whether it's vertical or out wide. As a solo, I tend to build up and not out. I usually choose a spot with some sort of natural barrier, such as a wall or a mountain cliff. I also try to choose a spot where tanks and ground vehicles can easily drive up to, since that's how many teams raid. But when it comes to base location, take your time choosing where you want to settle. It's very important and it will set you up for long-term success. Now that you chose where you want to build, let's discuss claiming territory. The flag is the first way you can claim land, but it won't give you PvP protection. So I don't recommend building it unless you know someone will take your spot from you. For PvP protection, you want to build a space beacon ASAP and set your raid window of 3 hours once it's built. For the first 24 hours of setting this up, you won't have any PvP protection, so lay low, don't attract attention. I wouldn't even upgrade too much until after the first 24 hours. In case you get raided, you don't have much time lost in the base. You can focus on looting and leveling up. Survive the first 24 hours, you will then have PvP protection all the time, except for the 3-hour raid window you choose. Most people choose the middle of the night for this. If you decide to change this window, there will be another 24-hour period of no PvP protection. Take this into account. Most teams that raid will do so in the first 24 hours of seeing a base and be very aggressive about it in order to prevent a base being built up near them. On to the layout of your base. Obviously, this is where the fun begins, and this will vary with everyone. You will need a lot of space though for your workbenches. There's so many necessary ones you need. And on top of the benches, you will want to make space for a large vehicle factory, a pyrolyzer for converting oil to fuel, mine shaft for ore, a manual drill, and an automatic oil well. Trust me, you will want all of these once you have electricity because your base will passively farm some materials while you do other tasks and you're offline. It's extremely helpful as a solo. Now it's up to you if you want to incorporate the Horde minigame into your base design or not. For the uninitiated, the Horde minigame is when you go to your beacon, you spawn a Horde, this creature or your build, you kill them as they try to destroy your beacon, and when completed, you earn rewards. The difficulty, size, and types of these creatures scale up after each round, so it gets tougher and tougher to do. This is why we have so many traps at various unlock levels in the tech tree. You can start doing the Horde waves at an early level. If you plan on doing the Horde minigame often, I would plan out traps and proper pathing into your base layout early on. People on PvP servers can see the beacon lit up whenever someone does the minigame, so I would not do it in your first 24 hours until you get that PvP protection. Now that you have your base location, layout in mind, and you have the necessary pieces to progress, let's discuss electrical. It's quite simple really. You're going to need a power source, a battery, electrical tools to wire everything, and if you wish, a breaker to function as a switch. As a new player, it'll be a while before you reach solar panels and windmills. You most likely will start with a gas generator. Using my base as an example, I have multiple generators charging multiple batteries. The generators all go to a coupler, which combines them into one line. I then send a combined power to a splitter, which will split all that combined power into 3 lines. These 3 lines go to 3 separate batteries. These batteries all go to their own breaker and switch. Each breaker controls different parts of the base. One is for my lights, bridge, and recycler. Another is for my farm. The last one's for my base defense and turrets. As you get more experience, you can replace gas with solar and wind power. But gas generators are easy to maintain once you have an oil well because it pumps out so much crude oil to refine. I have one on 24/7. Make sure it never runs out of gas, and it honestly feels like a cheat code sometimes. Now that you understand electrical, Let's discuss farming indoors. In order to have a simple farm, you're going to need a water source, a tank to store excess water, sprinkler, and a light over a crop plot. You can also build a heater if needed. In order to power sprinklers, lights, and the heater, as well as any pressure pumps you build, you will need to reserve power for these items in your circuits. It's pretty easy to get a farm started. You technically only need the plot and seeds, but to get better amounts per plant, you want to get as many of these conditions in the green as possible. Using my farm as an example, this is the way I have it running. Since I'm in the snow, I use dew collectors to collect water, and they're all daisy chained together. The more you have, the more water you get at a time. If you live in the desert, you will need to live near a water source and build a pump to pump the water to your base, since dew doesn't collect very quick. The dew collectors are connected to a pressure pump, which is powered to my electrical circuit at all times, and that pump is connected to a tank. The pressure pump is needed to move the water from a different elevation. The tank is then connected to another pressure pump, and that pump is connected to a valve, which is just a switch to turn off and turn on my system. The valve is connected to the sprinklers, which are all connected via pass-through. So all I have to do is hit one valve, and all the sprinklers will turn on at once. Hit it again, it turns off. And when they're off, I have plenty of water stashing up in the collectors and the tank, which is also useful for drinking and other crafts. Now, when it comes to electrical and farms, a lot of you guys might do it differently. This is just the best way for me to explain it, and the way I found it works for me. Last thing I will touch on is turrets and base defense. I have all my turrets on their own circuit and battery since they demand a lot of power. There are a variety of turrets. I suggest mixing up what you have around the base. You can target both players and vehicles of all sorts. Once you power your turrets, they have an option where you can toggle what they shoot. This way you won't waste expensive ammo on wildlife and basic creatures. Lots of flexibility here. By the time you unlock these turrets and are this far in your progression, you should have a much better idea of how to play the game and build the base of your dreams. But that's all I got for this one. Hope it helps you guys learn the front. Good luck building your first couple of bases. If you're looking for more help, I got a playlist for the front suggested here at the end. Thanks for watching this far, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.